There are millions of victims and survivors out there who've been inspired by your courage. I am. Bravery is contagious. Indeed, that's the driving force behind the Me Too movement. And you sharing your story is going to have a lasting, positive impact on so many survivors in our country. We owe you a debt of gratitude for that, Doctor. Now, some senators have suggested you were simply mixed up about who assaulted you. An ally of Judge Kavanaugh in the White House even promoted a wild theory about a Kavanaugh lookalike.
All right, I've been looking into this more, this Kavanaugh and Christine Blasey Ford fiasco. And I even said it a bit in the video, and I took it out because I hadn't researched into it yet. I did a bit more research, and I am currently investigating this. So the scientific method is that you observe things, record the observations, think about them a bit, and make a tentative hypothesis based on the results of the observations. So my hypothesis, after looking at these two people, is that they are the same person.
This is the most unethical sham since I've been in politics.
First of all, we know that Ford on the left is a man. So the question is, who is it? If you just look at the size of the head overall, exactly the same size. Similar lips, right? Slightly different facial expression here. The nose is larger on Ford, but that can be done with prosthetics like they do in the movies. If you notice the neck, it looks like it has a tracheal shave scar common on MTF, transsexuals. That could be what it is, but it could also be part of the disguise, right? The cutoff point where the mask ends or something like that. There's something strange about that neck and all those lines on the neck, right? And the glasses, right? So the other part of the disguise would be the hair covering up half the face, right, on each side. And the big glasses. That's another common technique that we find. But if you just look at these two photos here for long enough, you see that they look very, very similar. Besides the hair and the glasses and the nose, and these things can easily be done at any toy shop, right? Simple things. And these people are professionals. But let me point your attention to the chin, all right? You see there on the bottom of the chin, slightly to the left, they both have the same exact dent in the chin, like a little shadow right there. Same exact chin. You can measure the top lip to the nose and the bottom lip to the bottom of the chin. It may be it looks slightly different on top where the mustache would be, but that's because of the facial expression. But otherwise, the neck, right? The neck looks very similar in thickness. Kavanaugh, of course, wearing a suit and tie, so covering up most of that neck. So I could see how this could very easily be the same exact person. Part of some strange ritual, right? He had to do this. He had to put on this show in order to get the job.
You immediately rejected that theory, as did the innocent man who had been called that lookalike.
Were these two people seen together at all? Is there any video footage or photographs of these two characters together? I could not find any. So if you find any, let me know. I'm still investigating. And the hearing took place over one day. The morning session was only this Christine Ford character, and Kavanaugh was not in the room. They certainly would have shown his reactions to the things Mr. Ford was saying, but no video footage of Kavanaugh in the morning session that I could find. And the afternoon session was Kavanaugh. And I'll show you exactly how much time was between the two. Okay, so it basically started at 10:05, 10:19, 10:33, 10:36. Uh-oh. Notice the hair falling over the ears, because ears are a good indicator as well. We can't really see the ears that well. Sometimes you can a little bit, but it covers up half the face, right? It covers up that big head. So we can go through the timeline there. Just look at this time. No Kavanaugh. Protesters. Big show. Just a big show, right? This took place in a theater with Mr. Feinstein. Okay, there's a lunch break. Mr. Ford, last seen at 1:48 p.m. Okay, they thanked Mr. Ford. Mr. Ford responded that her family was doing fairly well considering. Okay, 1:48 p.m., 3:08 p.m., we're back from recess, and Judge Brett Kavanaugh will begin his testimony, all right? So 3:08 and 1:48, Mr. Ford said goodbye. So that's 80 minutes. An hour and 20 minutes. Is it possible? Going from this person here to this person here in an hour and 20 minutes? Well, I think so. I think it is possible. I'm not saying that's what happened, but with a team of professionals. And then Mr. Ford disappears now. Mr. Ford is not in the audience, and Mr. Kavanaugh put on a big show, very emotional for a judge, right? You know the old saying, sober as a judge. Well, he was pretty emotional. 80 minutes? Yeah, I think they can pull off this costume change in 80 minutes. They do it in theater all the time, which is exactly what this is. This is theater. And all they had to do was take the disguise off. They started with the disguise, lots of preparation time in the morning, and then just take it off and become Brett.
You would not mix up somebody else with Brett Kavanaugh, is that correct?
Correct.
Now I went to the Palo Alto University site, and this would be the person here, Christine Blasey Ford, going by the first two names, PhD. Although there's no phone number, maybe they took it off. So apparently this person is listed on the website. That's all I know. Does the person exist? Does this person work there? I don't know. The other people have phone numbers and contact information. This person does not. So, and supposedly it's a researcher, right? So it's not even really a professor. A researcher would be behind the scenes. All right, now here's an earshot I found. Mr. Ford's hair was hanging in front of his face for like 2 minutes, and then he pushed it aside and revealing the ear. Now they could be the same ear. The heads are at a different angle. When Mr. Ford talked, he talked in kind of a real high voice and whispered, so it didn't really talk very loud. And put his head down like he was full of shame, right? So the character was looking down all the time. The head was turned down. And then Kavanaugh was very loud and boisterous, looking up, in totally different acting style. Very kind of aggressive. And the other one was real passive and quiet, talking like this and whispering, because the trannies like to talk in a real low voice so they can whisper and speak in a high voice like this.
I am here today not because I want to be. I am terrified.
Now look at this. Voice actress's Twitter deleted after she mocked Christine Blasey Ford. A voice actress noticed that Mr. Ford's voice is completely fake and making fun of the acting. All right, so an actress was making fun of Ford for acting and using a fake voice.
I am here because I believe it is my civic duty to tell you what happened to me while Brett Kavanaugh and I were in high school.
A lifetime of public service and a lifetime of high-profile public service at the highest levels of American government. And never a hint of anything of this kind. And that's because nothing of this kind ever happened.
I hope the American people can see through this sham.
But very similar looking people, if you can just ignore the typical disguise techniques, the wig, the glasses, some makeup, and a bit of, they kind of made Mr. Ford's face a bit thicker, maybe a bit larger somehow, but otherwise it looks exactly the same. And it sounds pretty crazy, which is why I kind of hesitated to say this before. So we can all look into this, and if anybody finds any photos of them together, just put it in the comments, and then the hypothesis will be proven to be false. It's just objective scientific process. That's all it is, right? I don't start with a conclusion. I start with observation, looking at the facts. Fact, they look similar. Fact, they love to cross-dress. They're all a bunch of trannies, all right? Fact, he has to do something crazy to get this job. That's just how it works, all right?
You're looking for a fair process? You came to the wrong town at the wrong time, my friend.
Fact, they got the same lips. Oh, look at the teeth. Now, the teeth look to be the same size. They're all kind of small. He's got really small teeth. Mr. Ford has a tooth going inside the mouth more. They do have the same color eyes. Mr. Ford has makeup on the eyelashes. Mr. Kavanaugh does not. The nose has a similar shape to it. It's just the Mr. Ford's nose is larger. Now, they're at different angles, totally different angles. But the chin is the same. I think they could change the teeth a bit if they wanted to, right? It could be fake teeth. There could be two different sets of fake teeth. See, it looks like they kind of tucked in the neck a bit on the left, on the Mr. Ford character. Obviously has male digit ratio in the hands. But if you look into that, under the chin and on the top of the neck, it looks like it's tucked in more, whereas on Mr. Kavanaugh's, it is not. And if you look at the hands, Mr. Kavanaugh has his fingers spread apart. Mr. Ford's fingers are together. But look at the outside shape of the hand, okay, on the pinky side, and then look at the palm of the hand. Same exact shape, same on the thumb, right? The same shape. Look at how the thumb kind of flares out like that. The shape of the pinky. The shape of that hand is the same. They're just not holding the same pose. And even in these younger photos, very similar look, right? Now, I don't know if these are real photos of them this could be anybody, really, right? It could even be two photos of the same person, one changed to look like a girl, or that could have been Kavanaugh cross-dressing as a youngster, you never know, right? Now, if you didn't know any better, there's no way you would be able to tell these are all Eddie Murphy. The men and the women, they're all Eddie Murphy. In makeup, in disguise, right? In Hollywood. And there's Eddie Murphy's ex-husband. That's right, ex-husband. Just look at the hips, the shoulders, the skull. You get the vibe, right? You know what's going on there, all right? That's just how these people roll. I'm not going to talk about the FTMs now, because that just gets me more confused. Speaking of possible FTMs, John Travolta playing some character in a movie called Hairspray. And there's John Travolta cross-dressing on the weekend, all right? I found this on some Nigerian website, and that's not part of a movie. That's what these people like to do. There's Tootsie, right? The big glasses. It's the same disguise. The big glasses, the wig, some makeup and some clothes. Makeup around the eyes, lipstick, right? All this stuff, nail polish. There's a couple of trannies right there, right? A couple of drag queens. That's right. They're both drag queens. It is an American horror story. And Mrs. Doubtfire, that's right, Mrs. Doubtfire putting on the mask. And look what happened to him. Things didn't turn out so well. Well, we don't really know what happened to him. But we do know what happened to Prince. Prince became Taika with the big glasses and the wig and the lipstick and the dress and the makeup. All right, it's the same person. And a bit of weight gain, not all that much. Taika is not as fat as he looks. Just a few more pounds, 5, 10 pounds. Eat a bunch of cheeseburgers, you're good to go, all right? Put on a pink wig. That is Prince. Come on, if you can't see that, you're just suffering from a severe case of cognitive dissonance because everything is a lie in the mass media. And that's the truth. There's Prince getting the award with the same voice as Kavanaugh, as Ford, okay? The same Ford, fake, tranny voice with the big, thick glasses covering up the face, the hair hanging down. That's the same disguise that Mr. Ford is wearing, just different hair color. We're livestock, and this just emphasizes that point. They just joke around with us, right? Because we're so stupid and gullible, and it just cements in their mind that they're better than we are. And we got to stop acting like livestock, all right? They're going to treat us like livestock until we stop acting like livestock, all right? So don't be a brain-dead sheep. Don't accept this charade, this theater that they're calling politics.
I hope the American people can see through this sham.
It's Greek theater, men playing the role of women. And this guy, I'm telling you, this guy wants to get the job. He's going to dress up like a woman, pretend to be a rape victim, and go through all this drama. That's just how these people think. They're beyond psychotic sociopaths. They're beyond that. And they're all in on it together. There's no logical explanation for how these guys pull this stuff off. They're getting some outside help from the principalities and powers. Supreme Court judge. So again, I'd like to test this hypothesis further. And once it's tested and scrutinized a bit more, we could probably make a conclusion. But until then, I believe this very well could be the same person.
A wild theory about a Kavanaugh lookalike. You immediately rejected that theory, as did the innocent man who had been called that lookalike.
This is the most unethical sham since I've been in politics.